I want to go trick-or-treating, Amanda exclaimed from next to my window. What the hell are you doing next to my bedroom? I asked, making sure to voice how grumpy I already was. It's almost Halloween and she wants to go out and have a little fun, Moses said, ignoring me. So what about this vampire that's supposedly still out there looking for you? Isn't this the whole point of you staying in the basement? The smell? We thought maybe we'd get a full-body costume and put some kind of odor killers in there. That might be good for a little while. This isn't what I had in mind. Amanda complained as she held up the cheap werewolf costume. It's the only full-body costume the store had that would fit, and I can't exactly afford to go across town to a costume shop. You're welcome, I told her, the grumpiness still in my voice. Well, werewolves are assholes, she mumbled under her breath. What does that even mean? I asked. Nothing, just something I read on the internet a while back. Okay, well, vampires are ungrateful little shits who can either be a werewolf or stay in the basement on Halloween, I said as I fell back down on the couch and pulled a copy of Dog Soldiers out of one of the boxes of DVDs. Here, use this to get in character, I asked, tossing the case to her. She groaned as she caught the case and looked at the title. What now? I complained. I don't like this one. This movie scares me. What did you just say to me? I asked in disbelief. This movie scared me. I don't like it. Jesus, well, it's almost Halloween and I want to watch scary movies in the dark basement with a vampire, so we're watching Dog Soldiers, I demanded. Besides, I'm still trying to get the image of you sucking that dopehead's insides out through his neck, so deal with it. You really want to watch scary movies with me? Don't read too much into it. It's not every day you get to watch monster movies with an actual monster, I stated plainly. I heard her stammer from beside me. Oh, shit. Damn it, I didn't mean... I tried to apologize. No, you're not wrong. I think it's just now really sinking in that I actually heard it out loud. I mean, like, does this mean I'll actually look like this forever? Can I have kids? If I do, will they look like this too? She solemnly pondered. Fuck, you're such a downer. What do you want to watch? Shrek, please, she answered with a cheeky grin. Well, I guess there's worse movies you could have picked, I mumbled as I slid the Shrek DVD into the player. Here, this t-shirt's been in here forever, and put these mothballs in your pocket. Maybe that'll replicate the smell of this place to hide your scent, I told Amanda, handing her the t-shirt and the small box of mothballs. Okay, she chirped. Now wait outside whilst I get changed. Moses had been visiting his grandparents for the past few days, which left me saddled with chaperoning Amanda while she was trick-or-treating. I'm not entirely sure why. She was strong enough that she could possibly toss me like a frisbee and her injuries healed pretty much instantly. But they both insisted I go with her. So I waited around the corner in my Frankenstein costume for her to get dressed. That's Frankenstein the scientist, not the monster, by the way. After a few minutes, I heard a muffled, "How do I look?" from back behind the boiler room. Well hidden, I said, catching a strong whiff of mothballs. Ready? She asked with a hop. Yeah, I guess so. Follow me and wait until I give the signal and nobody sees you coming out of the stairwell, I instructed her. Aren't we going to go trick-or-treating in the building first? She asked as we walked out the front door. Nah, the people in this building ain't giving nothing away for free. You either gotta steal it or fight them for it, I explained. We're going a few neighborhoods over to the good side of town. You'll get better candy there anyway. Excuse me! An unfamiliar voice called from behind us as we walked. I turned to see the social worker-looking lady from before trotting behind us. Can I have a second, please? My dad doesn't hit me. All my needs are met. I'm a perfectly happy, healthy 12-year-old child. I recited my default social worker lines. What? Why would you say that? You're a social worker, aren't you? All you guys do is come around every now and then and ask us if our parents beat us, if we get enough food, and if we have an acceptable quality of life, then move on to the next one. What? No. You got it all wrong. I'm in the middle of an investigation and I just need to... My dad said don't talk to police unless he's with me. I cut her off. Calm down. I'm not a cop. I'm a private investigator, she explained as she pulled a small piece of paper out of her shirt pocket. You haven't seen this girl by any chance, have you? My stomach did flips as she held a picture of Amanda to my face, but I kept my cool and squinted at it for a second to fake thinking before I took my hand and said, "Hey Moses, you seen her around lately?" Amanda leaned forward for a second, copying what I did under the mask before shaking her head. The lady stuffed the photo back in her pocket with a soft huff before she asked, "Well, do you know of any places around here someone like her could hide?" "Nah, not really. A pretty little rich white girl like her around here, she'd stick out like a sore thumb," I lied. "Yeah, I guess so. It's hard to blend in around places like this." "Nice costumes," she added, unknowingly patting Amanda on the head. "Werewolves are pretty cool. The hell would you know about it?" I barked the question before I realized it. "Slow down there, kid. I was homeless for a while when I was a kid. Not too far from here, actually," she said as she looked around. "Yeah, I'm sure you know all about the struggle," I mocked, but before I could even finish, she had me by the collar of my shirt, and for a brief second I was sure I felt both my feet leave the ground. "Listen here, you little shit-ass, you want it?" She started to hiss in my face, but was interrupted by someone calling towards us. "Hey, Detective, we can't fight kids!" the man yelled as he ran our way. "Did they know anything, or can we just leave before you start a brawl with a couple of middle schoolers?" Let's go," she growled. As they walked away, I could hear her scold the other guy. "What did I say about using names in front of people, dipshit?" That's not suspicious at all," I said to Amanda as I turned to face her. "Back to trick-or-treating?" I asked. "Why are you bouncing?" "You think I'm pretty?" she chirped, which was muffled by the cheap werewolf mask. "Oh God, let's just go," I moaned, grabbing her by the wrist and pulling her behind me. "You're right, this is so much candy!" she squealed, looking down into her hefty bag as we made our way back to the apartments. "Look, that's a whole Hershey's bar." "I told you," I said over my shoulder as we walked. But as I looked back, I noticed she had stopped and was staring straight past me. I walked over to her and asked what she was looking at. "It was him," she said, reaching out her hand and pointing towards the alleyway just ahead of us. "I just saw him walk down there." "Who? Wait, you mean him? I asked nervously. She nodded in her response. "Okay, wait over there behind the corner. I'll be right back," I instructed. "What? Are you stupid or something?" she hissed at me under her breath. "I have to see what he's up to. Plus it'll help if I know what he looks like. Now go over there and wait for me," I told her before inching my way closer and closer to the alley. As I neared the corner, I could hear him talking to someone. "Shouldn't be inviting strangers into a dark alley with you, man. No telling what they might do to you." The man chuckled maliciously in a heavy country accent. "Well, I'll try to remember that next time." A vaguely familiar woman's voice spoke. I tried to see who it was, but he was standing in front of her. "Oh, well, that's the problem. Ain't gonna be no next time," he started to say, but was cut off. Sure. Do you know her?" the owner of the voice said as she stepped to the side and held up a piece of paper. "A social detective," I whispered to myself. Shit, she's so fucked. But fucked she was not. "Yeah, I know him. But that ain't what you need to worry yourself about right now, little lady." The man said in a way that I could almost hear the grin across his face. All of a sudden, he lunged at her in a flash. I squeezed my eyes shut, waiting to hear the carnage in my ears. But all I could hear was a low groaning. As I opened my eyes, I saw the man was now down on his knees. The woman had her hand on his shoulder and was gripping it so tight I could hear the bones cracking and crunch from my place far down in the alley. "I'll ask you one more time. Then I torture," the woman said in such a plain conversation voice it was actually disturbing. After a few more seconds of silence, she squeezed down hard on his shoulder and heard a wet crunch like something stomping on a head of lettuce. "I don't know where she is. I've been looking for her, but she's hiding somewhere and I can't pick up her smell. I swear!" "Yeah, I don't believe you." The woman spoke down to the kneeling man as she placed both hands on either side of his face. And with a stiff jerk, she snatched his head clean off his shoulders. I took off as soon as I could back to Amanda, who was visibly unsettled by my sudden retreat. "Go! Fucking go now!" I hissed in her ears. We both sprinted back to the complex on a different route that didn't take us in front of the alley. "What happened? What did you see?" she questioned once we stopped in front of the apartments. It was The investigator. I have trying to catch my breath. What? What about her? Did he get her too? No, she got him. Ripped his head right the fuck off. I think I'm gonna puke. I continued to gasp. I don't understand, she whimpered. Yeah, me neither. But we gotta get you back down to the basement. If that lady's looking for you, then we all might be in deep shit. I managed to wheeze out. You go back downstairs. I'll email Mo and tell him to be on the lookout for her when he gets back. I ran up the stairs to my room and went straight to the computer and sent Moses an email with the heading, Trouble, read now. Tell him about what I saw in the alley. Moses' grandparents dropped him off at school that day, so we met up and walked home once the last bell rang. Yeah, dude, it was insane. I almost felt sorry for the guy. I said almost. I emphasized as I saw the look on his face. We'll figure it out once we get home, Moses tried to reassure me. But my stomach's hurting all day. First thing I'm gonna do is take a big... Shit! I was gonna say dookie, but yeah. But I'd almost ran straight into the investigator woman whilst I was looking back at him. Something wrong, kid? She asked curiously, looking down at me through her glasses. Nah. I just wasn't paying attention. You startled me. I lied. Ah, well, you should be careful. Who's this now? She asked, motioning over to Moses. This is my friend Mo, I told her. Ah, the face behind the werewolf mask, she said to him. What? Werewolf mask? Moses said before I had a chance to stop him. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were someone I already met. She apologized dismissively, but I could still see the look of suspicion on her face as I grabbed Moses and took back off to the complex. What the hell was that all about? He asked as we ran back to the building after trying to casually stroll as far away from the woman as we possibly could. I think we just fucked ourselves bad, I told him, but then I slid to a stop. Damn it, we can't go back to the building. Why not? Moses asked, confused by the situation. I don't think she knows we live there yet. But if we go there now and she's following us, then we might lead her right back to our home, and Amanda too. So what do we do? I guess we just wander around until we're sure she ain't following us, I said, looking at our surroundings. After about an hour or so, once we were pretty sure she wasn't following us, we started to make our way back home. But we still made the point of keeping our eyes open the whole time just to be sure. When we got back, we ran straight downstairs to make sure Amanda was okay and tell her she might better stay inside since it was starting to get dark, and that lady was prowling around looking for her. Hey guys, I'm starting to wonder where you were. What's wrong? She asked when she saw the serious look on our faces. We ran into that lady on the way home. I think she might be wise to us now, I told her. We walked around for a while to make sure she didn't follow us back. Oh, well thank you for that, she said as she scratched her head. So what now? We lay low, I guess, I said. Just be careful not to run into her and lead her back here until she gives up and goes away. Right then, the lights to Amanda's room suddenly flicked off, plunging us into darkness. Someone had just turned the basement lights on. We all went dead silent as we listened to the footsteps from around the corner as whoever turned the lights on walked around. A few seconds later, the lights in the boiler room flipped back on and we all took a deep breath of relief. After a few more seconds of carefully listening for any more footsteps, I peeked my head around the corner to check and see if they were gone. Hi. And the face that mine was now only an inch or two away from said as we made eye contact. The lady had been waiting just around the corner and I almost knocked heads with her as I went to look. Sure. I stuttered as I fell back on my ass in shock. Guys, company! I shouted back at Moses and Amanda as the woman stepped from behind the corner and into the boiler room with the rest of us. How'd you find us? Made sure you didn't follow us. I managed to choke out. Ed Calderon's urban movement course. Worth every penny, she answered. Just because you didn't see me doesn't mean I wasn't there, kid. Ah, there you are. She grinned as her eyes fell on Amanda. My little dollar store werewolf, she added with a slight grin. Okay, boys, I'm gonna have to ask you to take a hike now. I have business with your friend. She took several steps forward, but stopped when me and Moses both jumped between her and Amanda, throwing our arms up and making a practically useless shield with our bodies. Okay, guys, that's cute and all, but your friend there has a condition that poses very real danger to both. We already know she's a vampire, I stated defiantly, interrupting her. Yeah, and she's good people, Moses added. Oh, well, in that case, you're both idiots. But even so, she said, taking another step forward. We all yelled out at once. We're not gonna let you hurt her! Huh? The lady stopped with a look of bewilderment on her face. But before she could say anything else, I heard a loud crack and a spray of wooden splinters filled the room as someone struck her from behind with a large board, causing it to shatter and her head jerk sideways and crash into the far wall. After the impact, she slid limply down to the floor, unconscious. Yes! I told you if we waited long enough she'd lead us to her. The man who struck her called out to someone just behind him. Now we got her and the girl, he added, turning back to us. I guess old Jeb was right about hiring them after all. I guess it's safe to say you're both vampires and you're not here to help us, are you? I asked the new guy who was still holding half a piece of a destroyed 2x4. Oh boy, you said it, the man said, leaning down to my level and tossing the board to the floor beside him. You said it, he repeated as a nasty smirk cracked across his face. Then he reached his hand out towards me and I squinted my eyes shut in anticipation of whatever he was about to do to me. But nothing happened. Instead, I heard Amanda scream from behind me, jolting my eyes open as the man picked her up off the ground by her long hair. Kill him, he instructed to the other guy who had just entered the room behind him. But before the man could make his approach, we heard a faint voice in the distance get louder and louder. Sorry. Followed by a low whooshing sound as an object was hurled around from the dark of the basement. And just as the rear vampire turned to identify the commotion, it struck him square in the forehead with a loud thud, dropping the monster immediately. A small axe was now deeply embedded in his skull. Sorry. The voice continued until its owner came into view. It was the man from before, the newly investigator lady. They got the drop on me. I tried to stop. The man stopped mid-sentence once he saw the situation in the room. After a short pause, he quickly reached down for the axe as he tried to wrench it loose. It became stuck, and before he could free it from the man's skull, the other vampire had already dropped Amanda, tackling the guy to the ground and knocking him away from his weapon. Hey, wake your ass up and help me, please! He yelled to the unconscious woman as she struggled against the vampire's attacks and tried to reach his axe. But suddenly the vampire got a solid shot in and knocked the guy out cold. Okay, back to business, he said, standing up over the man and looking our direction. Hey, where's the girl? But before any of us knew it, especially him, Amanda had dropped down from the ceiling onto his shoulders and started using her long, claw-like fingernails to tear away at his face, pulling large chunks of flesh out and ripping deep caverns into his skull. After a few seconds, he finally got a good grip and tossed her across the room. Once he was finally free, he doubled over and screamed into his hands as blood ran down from his arms and into his shirt, where it then dripped and pooled onto the floor underneath his feet. We looked on in horror as a few moments later, he removed his hands and watched the skin and muscle regrow across the chasm of his face in an entire unblinking eye, reforming his head before the lids finally grew back over it as well. Well, that's enough of that, he growled. I was going to keep you alive and have some fun for a while, but you're already more trouble than you're worth, he added as he snatched the axe free from his accomplice's head and began to slowly march towards us. I tried to stop him, but he shoved me out of the way with his crazy strength, knocking me to the floor. So I did the only thing I could think of at the time. I grabbed the splintered remains of the board from earlier and smashed it as hard as I could into his knee. To my surprise, the leg buckled and folded in on itself, causing him to stumble and drop to the ground between me and the woman. This finally managed to jostle her awake. Once her eyes opened and she realized what was happening, there was a violent struggle for several seconds until everything went real still. The vampire rolled off of her, dead, a short blade sticking out from the side of its head. Fuck, the woman groaned as she got to her feet. Damn, that really hurts, she complained as she rubbed the back of her head. Hey, you alive? She asked as she kicked the heel of the unconscious man, who mumbled in response. Close enough. Okay, now you, she said, looking back at Amanda. Can we talk now, please? What? What? We all asked in unison. You mean you're not here to kill her? I asked nervously. What? No, who gave you that idea? I guess we just assumed. Well, no, I came here to kill the one that did this to her, sure. and as buddies, but we're here to help her. We have a place where she can be herself while she learns to live with her condition, till she's ready to do her own thing and go out in the world. What kind of place? Amanda asked. Is it far away? She added, turning to look at me and Moses. Well, yes and no. You'll understand once you see it. But I know what you're thinking, and after a little while you can come visit these two all the time if you want. But wait, why should we trust you? I asked, suspicious. I heard the one guy say they were the ones who hired you to find Amanda to begin with. Wait, he said what? She yelled. 1 second, she told us as she pulled up her phone and made a call. Yeah, hey, this case I'm on? Who's the client? What do you mean anonymous? Someone tells you a girl's family is killed and she might be turning into a vampire anonymously? And that didn't raise any red flags. Okay, no. Here's what's gonna happen, is when I get back... No. What's gonna happen is I'm going to literally climb up inside your ass and kick you in the fucking prostate. And with that, she hung up and tucked her phone back into her pocket. I'll tell you what, I've got to get Sleeping Beauty seen about, so how about we come back tomorrow? And that's how that all went down. I'm sitting here in Amanda's room in the basement next to her and Moses. We're just spending our last night together for a while whilst watching her favorite movies as I type this whole thing out. There's still a little vampire gunk here and there, but the woman cleaned up most of it before she left. She'll be back tomorrow afternoon, though, and it'll be at least a few months before Amanda can come back to visit. So we're making the best of it until then. And that's our story about how we found and made friends with a Dracula in the basement.